Yeah, Amanda, David, this case actually involves two soldiers from Washington State. One a victim, the other a problem soldier turned killer in a crazy plot to attack the U.S. government. The federal government has agreed to pay $2.3 million to the family of 17-year-old Tiffany York. It will pay $1.7 million to Michael Rourke's family in Marysville.
This was a 19-year-old kid who was murdered, and there were warning signs everywhere.
New Jersey attorney Brian Brook sued the government and uncovered records revealing what the Army knew in the months before Tiffany and Michael were killed in the woods outside of Fort Stewart, Georgia in 2011. A group of U.S. Army soldiers, Michael's former friends, were arrested days after the murders. The group was led by Private Isaac Agigi of Kashmir, Washington, in a secret anti-government militia that called itself FEAR.
I want to wake up from this bad dream. That's all I want.
Agigi confessed on video, and other soldiers admitted they killed Rourke because Agigi worried he would alert authorities to FEAR's plans to attack politicians and government installations. Tiffany was Rourke's girlfriend in the wrong place at the wrong time.
A loose end is one way that Isaac put it.
Sergeant Deirdre Agigi, Agigi's pregnant wife, died mysteriously months before the murders in the woods, and Agigi was Army investigators' one and only suspect.
They, in fact, the first officer on the scene put him in handcuffs. I mean, there was no doubt he was a suspect the whole time.
While the Army investigated, it released Agigi and approved a payment of $500,000 from an insurance policy. Agigi came home to Kashmir, where he spent $30,000 of that money loading up on guns for his terror plot.
They didn't just let this guy go free. They financed terror. Negligent.
The Army was getting warnings from family, friends, and even the FBI about Agigi. We spoke with Michael Rourke's mother in July.
They had Agigi in their sights. They had him on their radar. They were watching different things that he did, and nobody took any action to do anything to stop him.
The Army and the Department of Justice admit no wrongdoing and declined to comment on the $4 million settlement.
It's chump change if you really think about the value and the loss of a child for my clients.
In an email today, the mother of victim Michael Rourke, Tracy Jarr, said, "We believe this is as close as we're going to get to an apology or an admission of guilt from the Army for their failure to act. Her son had just separated from the Army and was headed home to Marysville when he was killed. And she believes, Tracy Jarr believes, that he was fearful of these guys and trying to get away from them."
Now tell us this, you went through a lot of court documents. Did you ever see an explanation, a reason from the Army as to why they did not arrest Agigi sooner?
Well, you know, there was, in the case of the death of his wife, there was some waiting going on for test results. Obviously, investigators wanted to make sure they had a good case before they arrested him. But after Agigi was arrested for the double murder, and it was clear that this guy was a killer, one Army investigator wrote in his notes that they'd had enough evidence for months to charge him with Agigi's wife's death, and he seemed to regret that they hadn't done that months earlier and maybe prevented this double murder.